and Devin McCourty joins us this morning on the Harbor One hotline. Hey, Devin, good morning.
Good morning. Do you always have to say that? Does anybody else switch up and say the sponsors? Or it's always you?
Greg makes the big bucks.
I mean, it's kind of the one thing that I feel like I'm capable of
You're
doing.
the quarterback. That's who you are.
Yeah, I am the
yes,
okay. I would be the quarterback, but I certainly we tried Wiggy one time doing it, and then we had no time left for the interview afterwards. So, hey, your old teammate Tom Brady said yesterday that he's seen a lot of bad football around the league the first 4 weeks into the season. Do you agree? And if so, what do you attribute that to?
I think overall that's kind of what September usually is. I think a lot of teams talk about, finding who they are, their identity, all those different things. And I think you guys have probably heard for years Bill talk about, learning more about the team throughout September and, kind of being an extension of preseason. So I think when what Tom said, I think it falls in line with a lot of things you hear people talk about through the beginning of the season. So I would say, yeah, it's probably about right compared to what you'll see eventually through the later parts of the season.
Devin, when you look at the season, I know a lot of people don't like to get ahead, and I know every game they say is a must-win. But when you look at the position that you're in, staring there, sitting at 1-3, and you know the importance of a game like Detroit at home to be able to win, to not put yourself in a position where it might be too hard to climb out, do you guys realize and understand the kind of or look ahead in the sense of how important this game could mean to the rest of your schedule?
I don't know if guys necessarily look ahead for that reason, but I think guys feel the energy around you. You go on the road week one, you lose, you come back, win a game in Pittsburgh, a close game, and you lose the next 2 weeks. And I think that energy and that feeling is hey man, we're 4 weeks in and we've only felt that feeling of winning one time. It's not what anybody wants. So I think there's definitely, whether you want to call it a sense of urgency, whatever you want to call it, there's definitely, I feel like that feeling to win, I think across the board for everybody, you want to be a winning football team and you don't do that. There's a feeling of wanting to do that. So I definitely feel like there's that sense. I don't think guys necessarily see it as let me look ahead and what's in the future, but guys just, I think how you feel right now in the moment makes you want to win, Sunday and get a win just to get the energy flowing back in the right direction.
I know you used to be no such thing as moral victories around these parts, but there were some guys who sounded like going out there on Sunday and being there in overtime at Lambeau against Aaron Rodgers was encouraging. Are you one of those guys who was able to take something positive out of that result on Sunday?
No. I think there's always positives in any game you play or watching the film. But I think overall when you say positives from the result of the game, no, we lost. I think the positive was we did some things well. Now, we need to figure out how to change the result to make it a total positive feeling. But no, I don't really see, going from 1-2 to 1-3 as I don't think there's positives in that.
Devin, a lot of people were torn about Jack Jones' comments after the game on Sunday. We had Ty Law on Tuesday, and he basically said, Jack shouldn't have said anything like that. He should have just stayed mum like a lot of Patriots do.
Well, I think the phrase he used was shut up.
Yeah, I was trying to be nice.
Yes.
But you're such a big voice in that locker room. Where do you fall on that?
Well, I will say this. From my time in the NFL, I think it would be great guys like that reach back into the locker room. I think about a guy like Jack being able to talk to a guy like Ty Law, not only for his accomplishments in the NFL, but how he's viewed in this locker room. When you come here and you play defensive back, it is the Rodney Harrisons, the Ty Laws, the Lawyer Malloy. We've heard, for me, I've heard stories of these guys throughout the years. Guys look up to those guys. So I think overall, reaching back into the locker room and having those conversations. Like, think about if Jack heard from Ty Law about how to carry yourself, how to be a good corner in this league, how to develop those things. He hears it from me, how to do different things, from other guys in the locker room. But from a Pro Football Hall of Famer, I think that means more than, now he'll have to answer this. I've had to answer this multiple times this week about those comments that, to me, really don't help him grow as a football player. But I think, the opportunity to be able to talk to guys like that, I know for me, the conversations I've had with Teddy Bruschi, Willie McGinnis, with Wiggy about, being a player here, being a vet here, how to win, how to do things the right way, I think that goes such a long way. That goes better than once the comments come through the media now. We're all talking about it with you guys, and, I think it would mean more in that element in that way. But, I think for right now it is what it is. I've been just trying to help Jack. I think I said it a couple of days ago, of understanding, being a rookie, how to play corner, how to prepare and be ready to go each week. And I would say he's really been hanging on those words from all of the veterans in the locker room. We were all happy to see him out there, get your first start, you're at Lambeau Field, make a play. I think that's what it's about. And now we're trying to help him build doing that week after week.
Well, I mean, my number's always available. I think you have it. So if any tight end wants to hit me up for any advice, I'm more than happy to help out. Devin, the one thing I look at with your defensively, especially, is the production of both Judon and Dedrick Wise coming off the edges. When you look at what that does for your defense, and especially what it does for the back end, how important is it that, you have guys like that who seem like week in and week out, they can put pressure, they can make things uncomfortable for the quarterback to make your life a little bit easier in the back end?
Oh, it's clutch, man. The way, I would say, obviously, like you just said, especially those two guys, but the way those guys have been rushing up front has made things really hard for any quarterback to just drop back and think hey, I'm going to have time to fully break down this play. If this first read's not open, I'm going to go here. Teams haven't had much time and drop back pass to sit there and let things develop. I think with the rush and, matching whatever coverage we're in has been really good. I think that's something, obviously, with Jew and Wise, something that both those guys do well. But I would say overall, the way our front works together and running games and doing different things like that has been huge for us defensively, and they're going to have to continue to do it. And, I think, obviously, the talk this week, though, for us as a defense is just do a better job against the run. That's something that we talk about all the time, and we got to do a better job in that.
Speaking of advice for rookies, any words of wisdom this week from you to Bailey Zappi?
Nah, man. What am I going to tell Zap about playing quarterback? I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but I think for each guy, after the game Sunday, was impressed by the guy. You're the third-string quarterback on the team. You step in, you go out there, you play your heart out, you play tough football. So I think he's confident. He should have confidence. Guys in the locker room are confident in him, and I think it's our job to go out there and support him the best way we can Sunday. And that's, for all of us to do our job at a high level, which in turn will make his job a little bit easier across the board.
Obviously, we don't as fans, we don't know him well. If you could only use one word and one word only to describe Bailey Zappi, what would that one word be?
I don't know. He's the Zap, man. He's a rookie third-string quarterback. Nobody knows him that well. He's not in here talking his butt off or anything. He's just I would say, hard-working.
That's two words.
It works.
It's hyphenated. It counts.
Yeah, I like it.
It's like a one-word phrase.
Devin, as a defense, though, when the third-string quarterback goes in, does that put more pressure on you guys to perform even better than you were on Sunday?
I don't know. I just don't see football that well. As a defense, you want to get stops, no matter what. If you come bring an all-star offense in here, defensively, we still don't want to sit here and be like, man, since our offense is so good, it's okay if we give up 45 to 50 points. You still want to play good football defensively. So I think no matter what, we want to take our game up another level. You know, as a defense, we want to play great defense. We love walking away from the game as a defense and saying, like, we held this team to this amount of points or we got X amount of turnovers. Like, for us, that's what it's about, no matter how many points or whatever we do on offense.
Dev, one of the things, you know, we heard the Brady talk about the sloppy play. You talked about it a little bit where, you know, it's kind of that's the beginning of seasons. One of the things that maybe I look at and I feel like attributes to it, or at least for me, is the shortened, and when I say training camp, is practice. I don't really care about the preseason games, but the practice time. I feel like when I first got into the league, which was a while ago, we had like 4, 5, even 6 weeks of training camp. Do you feel like the shortened practice time maybe leads to some of the sloppy play?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, like, even from the time I got into the league, it was different. Like, my rookie year, because of double sessions and the length of practices, you know, like 2 weeks in, the amount of practice time you had was way different than the amount of time on field that we have now. So I definitely think there's an element of that. I mean, I remember the thought of, you know, Bill used to always tell us, you know, in the springtime and that time, like, that was time for us to advance. And it wasn't just like kind of a BS time. Like, we needed to grow as a team to get better so that we hit training camp running, because I think what he was used to, like you said, of longer training camps and having more time wasn't really the case. So I think all that plays a part, you know, in the style of play, but I think there's another side of trying to get players more healthy, longer career. So there's definitely, I think, when you turn off football early September, there's definitely a reflection of the time and stuff. So I would agree with you on that.
Devin, how has Bill Belichick evolved? You noted when you started with double sessions, and this week it was raining and he moved practice inside. Have you noticed a kinder, gentler Bill?
No, I mean, I would say there's always a method to whatever he does. So, but I think I'll say this: when right now we were 4-0, like, no one would care what practice was like. We went inside. So I would say over these last couple of years, you know, last year we started 2-4. The previous year we were 7-9. It's made, like, I think everything he does that isn't like the hardest thing ever, or, you know, if he smiles too much, like, to me, it all now gets talked about way more because, you know, we're not 4-0 or 3-1. So, like, I just think there's a difference in how it's viewed. But I would say he is very much the same Belichick that I've been around.
Texter wants you to grade your brother when it comes to his performance on the NFL Network.
So I'm very limited in how much I see him. I'm pretty busy at what I'm doing, and, you know, he has a lot of free time. So I would say he's doing pretty solid from what I hear. You know, when I go places, they tell me he's doing all right. So I can't hate too much. I'm just hoping that at some point he lines up a job for me in the way that he's walked into a job. So I'm going to stay on his good side with this one in case you guys write an article and make me sound like a bad brother.
We could go in one day. Like, if he can't make it, you could just go in and do it for him.
Right.
Nobody would ever know.
Not right now, but, yeah, when the season ends, oh, yeah, I'm in there trying to take his job for a little bit.
Speaking of grades, but we've yet to mention that you were in the top 5 on a list this week on this program.
Oh, you are awful.
I feel like this isn't going to be a good list.
Was Courtney's list of the top 5 athletes in Boston that are easiest on the eyes?
I'm going to turn my mic off and not say anything on this show anymore.
Why?
Devin, very handsome man. Respect him and his marriage. Great dad, great husband.
It's okay to say somebody's
Oh,
handsome
my
if they're married.
God.
I mean, you're Devin. You're a veteran. You've been here a long time. You got to feel pretty good about making Courtney's list.
And Greg, you're burying the lead. Devin, you were number 1 on Greg's list.
He's bringing all the attention away. I'll take any list I can be on the top that's not negative. I'm all for it.
There you go.
All right. Hey, before you go, quick plug for your charity event, which is coming up, which I think Courtney has to wear BC jersey.
Rutgers. No doubt about
Rutgers.
it. Yep.
Yeah, Rutgers. When is that?
That's October 17th at Kings in the Seaport. McCourty Bowling Night. The McCourty Bowl. So we're going to have a good time raising money for Boston Medical Center and our Tackle Sickle Cell campaign. and the Next Step Foundation. So going to have a bunch of guys come out, some signed stuff. Just going to try to have a good time raising money for a really important cause to me and my family.
All
J
right,
Mac's even coming back, man.
Oh, wow.
we will
Yeah.
see. We will see you there. And maybe you get Nelson Aguilar lives right down the street. He can bring the Rolls Royce over, maybe.
For anybody that didn't know what he drives, they now know. Huh?
No, I mean, who would you say has the nicest vehicle currently on the team right now? Is it not? Is it Nelson?
Yeah, he's up there. There's three of them. There's three guys with really nice cars.
Who are the other two?
Really
Ryan
nice
and Steve.
cars. I don't want to put their business out there. Man.
Well, I mean, it's pretty tough to get harder to find something nicer than the Rolls.
Yeah.
So they
I know,
must be
we
driving
love
some
the
pretty.
Rolls Royce.
Oh
We
man,
do.
I used to love when
SUV
people.
too.
Yes.
Nah, they're probably driving like Ferraris and Lambos.
All right, Devin McCourty, great to talk to you. We'll talk to you again next week. Go get them on Sunday.
All right, guys.
All right.